In 1980, Chris Huntley and I just finished making a low-budget movie based on our original screenplay. Quite frankly, it was awful. Much of the blame for this lay with our dysfunctional story. We both had a strong desire to write another, better script, yet had no idea what was actually wrong with the first one, nor how we could learn from it. So, early one morning, perhaps 2 a.m., the two of us were working late in a small office I had behind my house, and one of us, we don't remember who, suggested that we compare our story to other well-written stories of a similar genre, in the hope of uncovering some truisms we might apply to our next project. Well, this began an investigation into the meaning and mechanism story that lasted until this day. The results of our work became a book, Dramatica, a new theory of story, and the dramatic algorithms we discovered were implemented into a revolutionary piece of software also called Dramatica. Although Dramatica deals solely with understanding and creating stories, one aspect of the theory suggested the possibility of psychological implications as well. According to Dramatica, every complete story represents a model of a single human mind dealing with an inequity. In other words, each story is not just about the characters in it, but in fact, characters, theme, plot, and genre represent different families of thought and collectively form a model of the human mind itself. We called this model the story mind. Well, historically, many theorists have sought to establish a link between story and psychology. This resulted in a number of philosophies built around archetypes and myths. What made our concept unique was the view that the archetypes and myths were only aspects of the mind, and the entire story must be taken into account if one was to construct a complete cognitive and effective model. Well, that alone would have been a fine contribution to the field, we thought, yet Chris and I were not content. We felt that as long as this new model of psychology remained mired in its story origins, it would never be accepted as a scientifically based theory. So, while continuing to develop Dramatica, both Chris and I gave considerable attention to the problem of presenting what we had learned as a theory in its own right. Eventually, we succeeded in developing a complete story of mind that stretches from lower-level neurology to higher-level psychology, and more important, answers the questions, what is mind, and how does self-awareness work? Well, once we'd filled in the last detail, Chris was pretty much satisfied that we'd found the answers we'd sought. I, on the other hand, became increasingly discontent that we hadn't really made them public enough, and hence, after all these years, this new series of videos. In conclusion, it's with great pleasure and even greater sense of relief that I finally present this view of the human mind as seen through the theory of mental relativity as discovered in Dramatica for your consideration.